Collaging to activate spiritual capacities. Life works in mysterious ways. The law of process is one of the most important laws of nature, of life. And one of the laws the least number of people know about, or honor. People are duped to believe that things just happen. And there is no process behind them happening. Advertising, testimonials, articles, books, talk about the results, and talk about the path to them in a sketchy way. If at all. So it is no surprise that any and all my students and clients expect instant results, instant enlightenment, instant happiness, blah 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 when they deal with me. After all, I wield energies. Right? Even people who have gone through a process to be as successful, or as unsuccessful as they are, cannot see the process. Not even in hindsight. I remember when I first began teaching and found out that I cannot teach what I know because 1. I didn't exactly know the process, but for sure my results had taken all the life experiences I had too. I couldn't teach the process to people who had no or too few spiritual capacities open. I had 30 open. That is when I started to offer activating capacities, only to find out that people don't even know what the capacity really does, what the capacity will cost them in terms of energy and attention, and what it will take to use them and thus keep it alive. We all thought that you turn it on and it will sit in your toolbox, like a screwdriver, available. But that is not how DNA capacities work. The body cannot afford to keep a capacity active, a capacity that is not used. It needs to turn it off. Just like Charlie Munger says, to get what you want, you have to deserve what you want. The world is not yet a crazy enough place to reward a whole bunch of undeserving people. By the same token, the body is not a wasteful organism to keep a whole bunch of unused energy leaks active. So I told people to make sure they keep the capacity I turned on alive by using it, but it turns out, people actually didn't know how to use them. So capacity after capacity turned off. Today I got lucky. One of my clients/students emailed me. "Hi Sophie. I've just read your latest article. Do I have the capacity to create context and live through it? I'd be interested in the collage workshop. I've carried out similar exercises in the past, put copied and pasted images from the internet. Maybe this is where I was going wrong? Also, I don't have a mind's eye as far as I can tell. I cannot visualize when I close my eyes. Is this a problem? If so, how can I fix it?" My answer: there is a spiritual capacity called the sight, that is not turned on for you, not even a little bit. I had a relative back in Israel who was an education psychologist. I spent quite some time with him, and he shared with me that certain ethnic groups, like the Palestinians, didn't have certain abilities I call spiritual capacities, like the thinking mode. If I did that, then that would happen. He said it may even be missing from the language. Conditional tense. I don't know enough Arabic to say if it is true. You may be from an ethnic group that doesn't have the sight active, because it wasn't needed. But I can turn it on for you. Without that, you won't benefit from the collaging class. And with that, and the collaging class, you have a chance to turn your life into a life with a purpose. Which, I think, is worth it. https://www.yourvibration.com/1/ the site. I'll make sure to schedule at a time you can participate. Make sure you have magazines, scissors, glue, cardboard to glue the pictures on. A good collage has at least 10 pictures, not square, but cropped closely around the essence of the picture. Just use my collage as a guide. I will publish more. Thank you, Sophie. Her email suddenly told me what I haven't been doing, teaching, asking for. Hey! Collaging the capacity can keep it on. Because while you are doing the collage, while you are looking for the appropriate pictures, while you keep it in front of you, however you do it, so you see it October 20th, 1930 times a day. Your whole body, consciousness, brain, gets that you need that. You want that. And suggest new ways to use that. So, suddenly, I am guided to shift my attention to an earlier step. It is now urgent to teach people to do collages the right way, the way it keeps capacities, the way it keeps context alive. One of my really painful results have been people's utter inability to benefit from the What's Missing workshop. I am using a technology there that is the basis of Landmark Education's technology, living out of a possibility. Possibility is much like a spiritual capacity. Millions of people have done the Landmark Forum, and millions of people ended up with words but no inner change, no inner growth. I was an exception because 1. I was a foreigner, and 2. I really didn't know the meaning of the many big words Landmark people were using: authenticity, generosity, audacity, integrity, etc. 3. I had 30 spiritual capacities that allowed me to be successful in 3 countries, in spite of the fact that I had no support and no money. So I spent a lot of my time looking for it in the world, observing it or the lack of it, detecting it in myself. It was a kind of collaging, don't you think? When you do a collage, you do what I did. Find it in the world. Observing it or the lack of it. Detecting it in yourself. Unless you think collaging is putting pictures of what you want on a cardboard and wait for the universe to deliver. Like the vision board people teach you to do. Bah humbug. No, real collaging is real work. If you come to the collaging workshop, you may find 1 or 2 pictures at a time. If so, you'll need 5 of those classes. Should I charge for the classes? I think so. How much? Maybe $10? Not too painful. But still, we'll weed out the freebie seekers who dilute the energy of what we are up to. The best way to go is to know ahead of time what collage you want to make. Another student of mine came up with this. Yes, I can see that it's not fully open. The capacity to create context. And live from it. But I also see that by practice this could be one of my strengths. I got inspired by the Collage article. I don't know how to explain this. But I somehow work best with pictures. And images. For example, when I go to a new place, it's easy for me to find to that place again because I capture the picture. And orient myself in that way. Context in pictures would involve me more than words. I would like to learn to create collages. And I would come to a workshop like that. I wrote this declaration yesterday. I declare to bring my best in every situation, only be in the now and be in response to life, that could be turned into a collage. Now, how do you collage bringing your best, be in the now, be in response to life? For a beginner this may end up a disaster. They will try to tell it like a story, a narrative, an illustration. But a good collage works with the deepest of you. It is not a narrative. A collage that is a narrative only comes from the mind, the stupid machine that creates rules, and totally ignores the why and the context. So how do you make a collage to activate those 3 spiritual capacities my student is hoping to activate? The first step is to realize that those are 3 capacities, not 1. You cannot, I repeat, cannot make a collage of unrelated capacities. So start with 1. The easiest one. The one you can recognize in others. Because unless you recognize it in others, you won't recognize it in pictures in the magazines. Now, if you are lying, and chances are good that you are lying, that you are deceptive, deceiving me and yourself, you are going to look for the result of those capacities, not the capacities themselves. So if my student is lying, unbeknownst to himself, he will look for riches, powerfulness, fast cars, loose women, and lush travel destinations. Lol, not the capacity. It is time for you to get more aware of yourself, and tell the truth. Your beingness creates your actions, and your actions create your results. Be, and GT, do, and GT, have, result. You can't jump. If you collage the have, or even the do, you'll never get there. You need to collage the be. And therein lies the difficulty for most people. Because, unfortunately, it is also a capacity, to be able to see the beingness. It is also part of the sight capacity. The sight goes under the layers of garments. The layers of pretenses. And sees the skeleton. Sees the core. Sees the real naked intention. Attitude. And, of course, judging from how formulaic or blind my playground students are, it is not visible. and not pleasant to look at. Only about 20 people have the sight capacity fully open. 20 out of 8 billion. Many more have it somewhat open. I am one of the 20? Who are the other 19? I probably know most of them, or about them. Why? Because it gives someone such an edge. But you could be one of them. Yeah, Sophie, but even if you turned on the sight for me, how would I keep it alive? How do you collage the sight? Okay, given that I have it, I am going to give you some pointers. The Oracle of Delphi, which is a job title, not a person, was a hand-picked woman, who, under chemical influence, fell into a trance and was able to connect to all of it. In a weird way, I am much like that oracle. Without the chemical inducement. I am not sure I like it. Lol. Anyway, the Oracle of Delphi was a seer. Einstein was a seer. Meaning, he saw, behind the visible the invisible forces, the invisible laws, behavior, the invisible and difficult to see natural laws. Nelson Mandela was a visionary, who, in the face of impossible odds, could see a new reality where African people and the white occupiers can share control of their shared destiny. Steve Jobs was a visionary. Cats can feel even a slight tremble of the earth. The geese, somehow know to move early to the south. Or north in the spring. Even though us mortals, including the weather forecasters, have no idea why. When watching movies, and find that the evil character didn't look evil at all, go back and find the clues you missed. For me, such movie was The Mentalist, where the actor who played the villain didn't know who it was until the very last minute. So I am still pondering it quite often, how I could have predicted that. The writers, I bet, didn't know it either. And yet, it was, somehow predictable. As I am looking now, I can hear it in the tone of voice. How? I don't know. When you have the sight, you don't know how you see. It has nothing to do with the mind. The mind has rules, the sight knows no rules. It just knows. Sees. Hears. That is why it is a spiritual capacity, not only a skill. And of course it can be developed into a skill, like my empathy. There are tens of thousands of empaths on Earth, but none with the skill level I have. I honed and honed and honed the capacity. Like President Lincoln sharpened his axe. And as you can, maybe, tell, I am still honing my ability to cause you to become all you can become. Always inventing new ways to actually get the job done. No one has done it before, so it is a tricky job. But somebody has to do it, and might as well be me. Just like in 1985, when I first heard the poem, "The Spirit only wants that there be flying." Who is doing the flying? The Spirit only has passing interest. Of course that was paraphrased. Here is the real quote, translated from German. If I don't manage to fly, someone else will. The Spirit wants only that there be flying. As for who happens to do it, in that he has only a passing interest. Rainer Maria Rilke. I have a feeling that every visionary had that poem in their mind's eye in one form or another. And now you can have it too. Lots of hints I could give you. Find your own, and start working on a collage. Get the sight capacity activated notes. Collage, from the French, coller, to glue, is a technique of an art production, primarily used in the visual arts, where the artwork is made from an assemblage of different forms, thus creating a new whole. The language, I am collaging the spiritual capacity of the sight. I am collaging being loved, I am collaging listening. Collaging being a learner, collaging being curious, etc. 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 Or if you want to confront your normal behavior, collage being lazy, being ignorant, being always offended, feeling attacked, feeling slighted, always angry, drama queen. Make it fun.